Sister-in-law, why don't you scream? Even if you scream and break your throat, no one will save you. In the dimly lit room, a heart-wrenching scream rang out. Others who have traveled here are either sons of princes or descendants of aristocrats. Linchuan crossed over and became the dragon and phoenix among the people who wanted to become a strong sister-in-law. Fortunately, God gave him a chance to bind a martial arts simulator. Injecting Shouyuan can deduce martial arts. From Demon Subduing Sabre Technique to Earth Demon Subduing Sabre Technique. From Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm to Divine Elephant Suppresses Prison Power. Sister-in-law, come on, I really haven't even dropped a drop. Looking at Liu Rumei in tattered clothes, Lin Chuan hesitated a bit. The next battle, which was scheduled to start in less than 10 minutes, could not be delayed any longer. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Martial Arts Simulator. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Chuan, you bastard. I'm your sister-in-law. A mottled earthen wall, dim candlelight. In the rudimentary room, suddenly came the sound of mournful cries. Lin Chuan was stunned for a long time, unable to accept his journey. I crossed over and became a pawn in Fufeng County. Although I feel like I'm dreaming, everything around me is so real. The scattered memories in the brain have become increasingly clear. At the end of the dynasty, there were demons and chaos, and evil spirits were rampant. My predecessor was a thug who had been struggling at the bottom for many years. In the end, I reluctantly became an official with my recognized elder brother, and from then on, I had no worries about food and clothing. 3 years ago, his older brother was killed by a demon. From then on, Lin Chuan completely let himself go and became a domineering figure in Fufeng County. As time passed, he gradually lost his respect for his older brother and began to think of ways to persuade his sister-in-law. However, his sister-in-law, Liu Rumei, did not flatter him. Finally, not long ago, he lost patience and decided to use force directly. I never imagined that Liu Rumei may seem thin and weak, and her personality is also very gentle, but in reality, she is incredibly strong. She picked up a wooden stick that had been prepared for a long time and gave it to the back of her head. In this way, the original body died, giving Lin Chuan a chance to be reborn. Looking at Liu Rumei, dressed in tattered clothes and with an unyielding expression in despair, Lin Chuan took a deep breath and got up. I have to admit that Liu Rumei has an extraordinary appearance. Lin Chuan has never seen such a beautiful woman in his 2 lifetimes, but now he has no intention of focusing on it. At this moment, Lin Chuan suddenly stumbled and stood firm, only to find a string of golden words in his mind. The martial arts simulator has been turned on current martial arts. Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, beginner level. Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm, Shaoqing. Shouyuan can be injected into a martial arts simulator to deduce martial arts, and the deduction results can be directly obtained. When the lifespan is less than 1 year, the deduction will end directly. Current remaining lifespan: 42 years, current available lifespan: 41 years. After reading the text in his mind clearly, Lin Chuan, as a fan of online literature, immediately understood that this was the golden finger he had traveled through. The traveler comes with a cheat device, and the ancients never deceived me. These 2 martial arts were both taught by his older brother and belonged to the family's skills. It is precisely because of the presence of martial arts that my predecessor was able to become a minor official in Fufeng County, and no one dared to provoke him. Pushing open the door, Lin Chuan rubbed his swollen eyebrows. He wanted to carefully stroke his original memories because it was too chaotic and out of order. Is it over? Hurry up and take me to eat. I'm already starving and thirsty. Suddenly, a rough voice came from the side, accompanied by a strong fishy smell. Lin Chuan turned his head. A humanoid figure standing 3 meters tall walked over. He was incredibly robust, with tightly packed muscles and shiny black fur. The most terrifying thing was that he was wearing a huge pig head around his neck. This is a pig demon. Lin Chuan took a cold breath and soon, a memory involuntarily came to his mind. There are many demons and demons outside Fufeng County, and Zhu Ba is the most powerful one among them, dominating one side. The pig demon in front of him is a descendant of Zhu Ba. Although the Demon Control Bureau is present, ordinary demons dare not engage in large-scale slaughter. However, they often go out to eat and eat live people. In order to survive, Lin Chuan secretly defected to Zhu Ba and began to act as a matchmaker for Zhu Ba and his descendants in the county town, creating unjust and false cases. Not only did they make the pig demons eat their stomachs, but they also secretly erased their traces, thus deceiving the Demon Control Bureau's people. As a transaction, Zhu Bei's is responsible for protecting Lin Chuan. And tonight, it is the day when the pig demon eats, so Zhu Lai will appear here. After knowing everything, Lin Chuan finally realized the horror of this world. Demons and evil spirits emerge endlessly, and humans are just the food for demons. If you ask me, this little lady just made me eat it all in one bite. The delicate skin and tender flesh are delicious to think of. Zhu Lai didn't notice Lin Chuan's abnormality and licked his lips, grinning grimly. Brother, what are you joking about? These are my beloved relatives and friends, my sister-in-law. Lin Chuan forced out a smile. Humph, what beloved relatives and friends are bothering me? Even you're going to be eaten by me. Zhu Lai looked coldly at Lin Chuan and said, if it weren't for your usefulness, do you feel qualified to stand here and talk to me? At the next moment, Zhu Lai extended a big hand and lifted Lin Chuan into mid-air. Then a huge pig's head pressed against Lin Chuan's face, with sharp teeth in his bloody mouth that were cold and sticky saliva falling down like threads. Lin, it seems like you really treat yourself like something now. Feeling a strong sense of suffocation, Lin Chuan's forehead veins exploded, almost fainting. Give something shameless to the face. Zhu Lai disdainfully shook his hand, and Lin Chuan was immediately thrown out like a torn sack, then heavily smashed into the yard. Feeling an unprecedented humiliation, Lin Chuan's breathing became increasingly rapid. Indeed, in this world, only strength is the most important. Lin Chuan's eyes were full of madness. Immediately after, his consciousness entered his mind. The panel quickly unfolded. Shouyuan can be injected into a martial arts simulator to deduce martial arts, and the deduction results can be directly obtained. Looking at the prompt, Lin Chuan no longer hesitated and took the initiative to inject Shouyuan into the simulator. Inference, Demon Subduing Sabre Technique. Lin Chuan has made a decision. In terms of power, the Demon Subduing Sabre Technique is superior to the other two martial arts, which is why he chose to deduce this martial arts. In the panel, the numbers about Shouyuan began to change rapidly. 41:40. 30.7, 20.2. 13. Finally, Lin Chuan's longevity stopped at the number 1. At the same time, more text appeared on the panel. You feel humiliated and decide to practice the Demon Subduing Sabre Technique in the 3rd year, you encountered a bottleneck, but you didn't give up, and finally in the 7th year, the Demon Subduing Sabre Technique entered the realm of Xiaocheng. But you are well aware that such words alone are far from enough, so you continue to practice without slacking off. In the 15th year, the Demon Subduing Sabre Technique was greatly accomplished. In the 28th year, your Demon Subduing Sabre reached the realm of transformation and was finally completed. In the 29th year, do you think that after completing the swordsmanship, one can continue to improve? In the 35th year, you had a new understanding and a flash of inspiration flashed in your mind, but your background was not enough to make a breakthrough. In the 41st year, your insights are increasing and you can make breakthroughs at any time. Unfortunately, your lifespan is about to run out and you have not been able to go any further. The martial arts deduction has ended, and the Demon Subduing Sabre Technique is complete. Do you want to claim it now? Chapter 2. Plundering Shouyuan. You are listening at novel full.audio. Claim. Lin Chuan did not hesitate at all. In the next moment, many unfamiliar memories emerged in his mind, and the realm of the Demon Subduing Sabre Technique began to rapidly improve. After a breath, as the collection came to an end, the Demon Subduing Blade Technique was no longer obscure and difficult to understand for him, but was like an armed command. It's like he really worked hard for 40.2 years, dedicating his entire life to the knife in his hand. Truly worthy of being a golden finger. Lin Chuan was extremely excited, and he could clearly feel that he was much stronger than before, one sky and one earth, incomparable. Then Lin Chuan looked at his hand and wanted to confirm whether he had become a withered old man or could maintain his youthful appearance after losing 40.1 years of life. To his surprise, everything remained the same as before, and his body not only lacked decay, but also became increasingly powerful. All of this was accomplished in an instant, and Zhu Lai didn't know that Lin Chuan had undergone a transformation and was no longer the little person he had bullied before. Humph. Zhu Lai looked coldly at Lin Chuan and snorted coldly, "I'll teach you a lesson from your sister-in-law first. You should understand that the demons are the masters of this world, not your human race." After speaking, Zhu Lai walked straight towards the house. The night was heavy, and the courtyard was dead silent. Zhu Lai's huge body smashed a big hole into the wall, and his brown pupils looked at Liu Rumei in the room with indifference. Feeling the pungent smell coming from her face, Liu Rumei's face turned pale and her body couldn't help but tremble. If faced with Lin Chuan, she could still muster the courage to resist, but in front of the huge pig demon, even begging for mercy was stuck in her throat. She is indeed a delicate beauty, no wonder Lin Chuan, that useless person, is willing to abandon the way of human relationships. Zhu Lai grinned grimly. Then, he reached out a hand and grabbed straight at Liu Rumei. Zhu Lai has a habit of watching others look desperate, so he doesn't plan to kill Liu Rumei now, but rather to have the latter watch him be eaten one by one. At this moment, Liu Rumei had already been completely frightened and foolish. After all, she was just an ordinary person. It was very rare for her to not faint in the face of such a terrifying scene. At this moment, a sudden mutation occurred. Suddenly, a silver light flashed through the room, and the forest was cold and glaring. Lin Chuan appeared with a long sword in hand, and his blurry face was reflected on the silver blade. At some point, a strand of blood appeared on the blade, slowly converging at the tip and finally turning into a drop of blood that rolled down. At the same time, a huge arm also fell down. Ow! After a brief silence, the room was enveloped by Zhu Lai's painful howls, and it wasn't until then that he realized he had cut off one of his arms. You! Zhu Lai's pupils were trembling. He seemed arrogant, but in reality, he was very shrewd. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to live in the city of Fufeng with dignity. How could it be possible? Although unbelievable, Zhu Lai was well aware that he was not a match for Lin Chuan. Even when the latter drew his sword could not be seen clearly, which is enough to prove that Lin Chuan's strength is far superior to his own. After a moment, Zhu Lai quickly retreated towards the distance, where was the previous invincibility. Do you want to leave now? Have you asked me? Lin Chuan said coldly. In the next moment, the brilliant sword light falls from the sky, like the Milky Way hanging upside down, extremely fast. Under this unparalleled sharpness, Zhu Lai Zhen was unable to resist and was directly split in half. Puzzy. Boiling pig blood poured out, staining the entire courtyard red. Lin Chuan calmly looked at the scene before him, with no expression on his face. Although it was his first time slaying demons, he seemed to have repeated this killing action countless times, deeply ingrained in his instincts. The strong smell of blood filled the air, making it nauseating, but Lin Chuan remained calm and even felt a little excited. This war ended too quickly. To be honest, Lin Chuan only made 2 moves from beginning to end. The first time he chopped off Zhu Lai's arm, the second time he directly split Zhu Lai in half. Not to mention this beast, even Lin Chuan himself didn't expect the battle to end so quickly. After 41 years of practicing swordsmanship, his savings have already reached their peak. Killing these ordinary demons is as simple as eating and drinking water. At this moment, the panel took the initiative to pop out. A message immediately caught his attention. Kill 1 pig demon that has not yet been introduced, with a total lifespan of 135 yuan. There are 57 years left, and it has been absorbed. Subsequently, the complete emulator panel was finally opened. Name: Lin Chuan. Cultivation: not included in the product. Martial arts: Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, perfect, Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm, Shao Cheng, remaining lifespan of the year. 1 year, reminder. If the lifespan is not extended within 1 year, it will explode in place and spiral upwards. Plundering Shouyuan. 57 years. Plundering Shouyuan can also be used to inject simulators to deduce martial arts levels. Remember, this Shouyuan cannot be converted into its own Shouyuan. Lin Chuan's eyes lit up. Killing demons can actually earn longevity and be used to deduce martial arts. Does this mean that as long as you keep killing demons, your martial arts realm can be constantly broken through? But the only problem now is that my lifespan is running low. If I can't find the longevity item in time, it will be 1 year from now. Forget it, it's no use thinking so much now. There seems to have been new progress in the previous deduction of the Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, but it was not possible to break through due to the Shouyuan issue. Lin Chuan still has 57 years of longevity to use to deduce martial arts, giving him a feeling of being a nouveau riche, and he immediately began his deduction. However, this time he did not inject all the longevity elements into the simulator at all, but restrained himself. Diligence, thrift, and thrift are the first virtues. He first set aside 5 years to try. After all, the simulator had already indicated that there was a possibility of breakthrough at any time, so there was no need to inject too much Shouyuan at once. You continue to practice the successfully completed Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, and the spiritual light in your mind is becoming clearer and clearer. Unfortunately, your aptitude is mediocre. Although you have worked hard for 2 Kun years, you still cannot figure it out. My qualifications are average. Lin Chuan suddenly felt speechless. Fortunately, he still has a lot of longevity now, and it was plundered, so it doesn't hurt to use it at all. Then he changed his strategy and injected Shouyuan into the simulator year by year. In the 8th year, you feel like you're about to break through in the 10th year, you really feel like you're about to break through in the 13th year, you exhausted all your life's efforts and finally perfected the Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, and named it the Earth Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, remaining demon longevity Yuan, 44 years. Chapter 3. Inference of Martial Arts, Seeking Data. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Did I create my own martial arts? Lin Chuan suddenly became excited. Creating his own martial arts is not something that anyone can do. Every person who can achieve this step is a dragon and phoenix among people, a proud son of heaven. At the same time, a new martial arts insight suddenly appeared in his mind. After the absorption was completed, Lin Chuan realized that it was not what he had imagined. The Demon Subduing Sabre Technique has indeed evolved into the Earth Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, but it has only gained new insights based on the original foundation. The simulator panel has also undergone corresponding changes. Name: Lin Chuan. Cultivation: not included in the product. Martial arts: D. Sha Subduing Demon Sabre Technique, Beginner Level 9, Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm, Shao Cheng. The remaining lifespan of oneself in that year is 1 year. Plundering Shouyuan. 44 years. Reminder. Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm is a horizontal martial arts practice. If one can cultivate to a certain level, it can accelerate the improvement of cultivation. 9th grade. Looking at the few small characters displayed at the back of Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, Lin Chuan fell into contemplation. Combined with his own cultivation and Zhu Lai's inexperienced cultivation, he speculated that he seemed to have reached a completely new realm. Following the prompts, I should now deduce Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm. Lin Chuan turned off the panel and a hint of excitement appeared in his eyes. He is now able to kill Zhu Lai, who has not yet been accepted, with a single blow. If his cultivation is further improved, his strength will definitely undergo a drastic change as a result. In this world, the stronger one's strength, the more they can survive. Let's take a break first. Lin Chuan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, suddenly experiencing so many changes, and his mind was constantly in a tense state. Once he relaxed, he was immediately enveloped by a strong sense of drowsiness. He glanced at Liu Rumei curled up at the foot of the bed in the room and whispered, "I'll leave first. I'll have someone come over to clean up later." After speaking, Lin Chuan turned around and left without any attachment. Upon hearing these words, Liu Rumei finally couldn't hold on anymore. Tears streamed down her face. After all, she was just a weak woman. First, she was almost defiled by her uncle, and then she was almost treated as meat by the pig demon. Liu Rumei was pretty good, but if an ordinary person had gone through so much, she would have been tortured and gone crazy long ago. Looking at Lin Chuan's back holding a long sword, Liu Ruiyan's eyes showed a slight abnormality. She knew that her uncle was already different. Previously, I only knew how to show off and act arrogantly in front of ordinary people, but now I dare to kill demons and have such strength. Compared to before, they are completely different people. His residence is not far from here, but because he still needs to clean up Zhu Lai's body, Lin Chuan first went to the county government office and gave orders before returning to his residence. He quickly fell into a deep sleep lying in bed. The next morning, Lin Chuan drove to the county government office with ease, entered through the side door, and entered the classroom. There are a total of 3 teams in the Fufeng county government, and Lin Chuan is just one of the small leaders. His subordinates carry 10 servants, and his immediate supervisor is the chief of the execution room, Gu Chang'e. Sit down in your own seat. Lin Chuan flipped through the books on the table and soon lost interest. It's not that he can't understand, but rather that he doesn't really care about these things, whether it's him or his original self. However, after a night of revision, he finally sorted out all the memories of his original body. The Great Zhou dynasty had a vast territory, consisting of 9 prefectures and 27 counties, with countless small county towns like Fufeng County. From my original memory, I learned that the Great Zhou dynasty had a 100-year history of demonic troubles. 80 years ago, the royal family of the Great Zhou dynasty established the Demon Suppression Department, responsible for suppressing demons within the territory. Unfortunately, compared to demons, human strength was much weaker, which led to significant casualties and a shortage of manpower in battles with demons. So the royal family changed their strategy and began to shrink the power of the Demon Control Bureau, placing the main force in the prefectures of the 9 prefectures. There were also garrisons in the county towns of the 27 commanderies, but the power of the Demon Control Bureau was very weak in the major county towns. Generally speaking, clearing the trouble of demons is done by the county governments themselves. If it is found that the demons are too powerful and the county governments are unable to deal with them, it is reported to the county city, and then the Demon Control Department takes over the entire process to conduct a thorough cleaning. The problem is that there are too many county towns within the territory of Dazhou, and even the Demon Control Bureau cannot manage them. Over time, except for county towns and prefectures, demons are rampant in various county towns. In this situation, the original body took a different path. He collaborated with demons, and on the surface, his jurisdiction was peaceful, deeply trusted by the higher authorities with great prestige. However, in reality, he secretly arranged food for the demons in exchange for peace. However, his original actions were appropriate, and there was no news of joining demons. Over time, his reputation in Fufeng County has also increased, with faint signs of taking over from Guchanga. After seeing nothing, Lin Chuan once again summoned the panel of the martial arts simulator and injected Shouyuan into it, directly starting to deduce Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm. You received a prompt and knew that Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm was of great use to you, so you began to connect with others with your heart. You are indeed quite talented in practicing horizontal kung fu. In the 3rd year, Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm was successfully completed, but you think it's still far from enough. In the 7th year, your Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm encountered a bottleneck, but you did not choose to give up. In the 12th year, Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm was finally completed, but with the experience of Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, you feel that perfection is not the limit of this horizontal practice of martial arts. In the 21st year, there was no harvest. In the 33rd year, there was no harvest. In the 44th year, you, who were about to give up, suddenly had a sudden epiphany and felt that Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm was highly likely to transform into a martial art. But you had limited lifespan and could no longer continue to deduce it. The deduction is over. The Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm is complete. Do you want to collect it now? Claim. Lin Chuan did not hesitate at all. In the next moment, his whole body involuntarily began to tremble, and every cell seemed to be undergoing transformation. After a few breaths, the drastic changes gradually stopped. Name: Lin Chuan. Cultivation: not included in the product. Martial arts: Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, beginner level 9, Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm, perfect. The remaining lifespan of oneself in that year is 1 year. Plundering Shouyuan: none. Although Lin Chuan returned to the stage of understanding, he was extremely satisfied with this deduction. Because he clearly felt that he had become stronger, his strength had greatly increased, and he could turn an inexperienced demon like Zhu Lai into flesh and mud with every move and gesture. Just then, a thin and weak young man rushed in. He saw Lin Chuan on the chair, and a hint of disdain flashed in his eyes. Then he adjusted his emotions and respectfully said, "I have seen Mr. Lin before." Chapter 4. Methods of Extending Life, Seeking Data. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Lin Chuan looked over and some memories came to mind. This person's name is Shouyuan, and he is one of his subordinates, but he just joined 6 months ago with very little experience. However, this person has a great reputation. Because Shouyuan's martial arts talent was exaggerated, and he came from an extraordinary background. He was a descendant of a large clan in the county city, and even joined the Demon Control Bureau. However, as this clan gradually lost power, Shouyuan also suffered a disaster in the Demon Control Bureau. Helpless, Shouyuan had no choice but to bring his sister Xiao to Fufeng County and eventually became a servant, hoping to avoid the turmoil in the county town. Coincidentally, there are 10 hungry ghosts in the original body. When I saw Xiao, I already had evil thoughts in my body. She was a true lady from a wealthy family, knowledgeable and courteous, charming. Looking across the entire Fufeng County, I couldn't find a second woman with such temperament. Almost everyone in Fufeng County knows that he was interested in Shouyuan, but his reputation in this area is really poor. Shouyuan naturally does not allow him to have too much contact with Shouyuan. The two of them engaged in multiple battles, both openly and secretly. Despite Shouyuan's young age, he was once a member of the Demon Control Department. His martial arts skills were astonishing, not much inferior to his original self. His original self also wanted Shouyuan to completely submit to him. Over time, the two of them reached an agreement. The original body promised not to have any thoughts on Xiao, while Shouyuan obediently obeyed him. After that, the relationship between the two eased, of course, only on the surface. Hiss. How do I feel like I have a way to take death? Lin Chuan remained expressionless and lost in thought. He doesn't believe that a proud son like Shouyuan will truly submit to him. This must be just a temporary measure. When his strength improves, Shouyuan will definitely be the first to take action against him. Seeing that Lin Chuan had not responded for a long time, Shouyuan took the initiative to break the situation. Lord Lin, I have just returned from Shirley Slope and there has been an accident in the village. Although there was an agreement between the adults and the dog demon from Shilipo, they are no longer following the rules and are living directly in the village. They have already eaten a lot of people. Shouyuan's speech became faster and faster, as if worried about being interrupted by Lin Chuan. If it continues like this, I estimate that in a few more days, the news will not be hidden. I hope adults can go and negotiate. As the former Tianjiao of the Demon Control Department, Shouyuan was proud and had only one attitude towards demons, which was to kill them. But who knew that since coming to Fufeng County, I would have turned into a scum defecting to demons? Shouyuan, do you think I made a mistake? At this moment, Lin Chuan suddenly spoke up and quietly looked at Shouyuan. For some reason, in the moment he met Lin Chuan, Shouyuan felt a wave of panic and confusion, as if facing the high-level officials of the Demon Control Bureau. Low duty, I don't know what adults mean. Shouyuan withdrew his gaze, which suppressed the discomfort in his heart. Do you think the county or city doesn't know if anyone below is defecting to demons? Lin Chuan said expressionlessly. This. Shouyuan was stunned. He was too young and arrogant, unable to expect so much. Whether it's the royal family, or the big shots in the capital or county, what they need is not to fight against demons, but to maintain a stable situation, at least on the surface, and then use the threat of demons to consolidate their notice. Once we engage in another war with demons, we will inevitably suffer a great deal of suffering, our hearts will be unstable, and Zhou's luck will also dissipate. Lin Chuan stood up, he could guess the thoughts of those important figures. Once there was a great chaos in the world, everything they had now would be empty in the blink of an eye. Therefore, after 80 years, fewer and fewer people truly wanted to fight against demons. The reason why Lin Chuan had such feelings was not to resolve Shouyuan's hostility towards him. To be honest, Shouyuan is no longer seen by him anymore. What he is worried about is that his killing of demons will cause dissatisfaction from some important people. In the eyes of those elites, the calamity of demons has become a means to maintain power. Before Shouyuan could respond, Lin Chuan stood up directly. Let's go. Let's go. Where are we going? Shouyuan stood there dumbfounded, without any reaction for a moment. 10-mile slope. Two thin horses quickly left the county town, one in front and the other behind. Shouyuan's expression was a bit dazed, obviously he had not recovered from Lin Chuan's words just now. Although he wanted to refute Lin Chuan's statement, Shouyuan also understood that Lin Chuan was not aimless. After a long time, Shouyuan was the first to break the silence. Is this how adults go to 10-mile slope? According to past customs, when dealing with demons, Lin Chuan would buy some good wine and dishes, which he called etiquette. But now that everyone has left the city, Lin Chuan remains indifferent and clearly doesn't want to prepare any etiquette. Lin Chuan was stunned, but soon found the reason from his original memory. I'm going to save him face. What other gifts do I need to prepare? It's him who should give me a gift. Lin Chuan gave a contemptuous smile. But Shouyuan still wanted to speak. In the past, he used to disdain and dislike the etiquette prepared by Lin Chuan, but now he has gone empty-handed and has become somewhat worried. The two dog demons on Shilipo are not weak. Are you afraid of procrastinating? Lin Chuan glanced at Shouyuan and said lightly. Afraid? Are you joking? I'm afraid those dog demons won't be enough for me to kill. Being so excited, Shouyuan immediately jumped up. Lin Chuan smiled and didn't say much. After taking dozens of breaths, Lin Chuan suddenly spoke up and said, Shouyuan, you come from the Demon Control Bureau. Have you ever heard of treasures that can prolong life in this world? Shouyuan was taken aback and said, Your Excellency, spring and autumn are in full swing. What are you asking about? Did you make a mistake? Are you asking about something that is considered an aphrodisiac? It's a longevity treasure, I'm useful. Lin Chuan's face stiffened with displeasure. Erectile. I am young and energetic, with a strong dragon and tiger spirit. What kind of yang do I need to strengthen? The treasure of longevity is very rare, and even if it exists, it basically falls into the hands of the nobles in the imperial city. Shouyuan did not conceal it. The most famous longevity treasure is naturally the longevity fruit. It is rumored that taking it can prolong life for 300 years, but no one has ever seen it before. In addition, it is Jiushou Wu, blood spirit grass, etc., which can prolong life for about 10 years. In addition, some demons have the effect of prolonging life after being refined into pills. Lin Chuan nodded. Since there are indeed things that can prolong life in this world, he can rest assured. Otherwise, every day is counted down now. Who can bear it? Is there a technique that can extend lifespan? At this moment, Lin Chuan suddenly spoke, his eyes shining. Chapter 5. Yellow Skin Dog Demon, Seeking Data. You are listening at novel full.audio. No. Shouyuan shook his head and said, although the Demon Control Department has collected many techniques, most of them are used to enhance strength and speed. Lin Chuan was somewhat disappointed. If he could obtain the technique to enhance his longevity, he would be able to solve his own problems perfectly. Unfortunately, although his ideas were beautiful, reality was cruel. Perhaps your strength is too weak and you haven't been able to access some overly core secrets. Lin Chuan's mouth is not forgiving at all. However, he is not aimless either. Although Shouyuan's talent is good, it is only limited to the Demon Control Department in the county city. If it were placed in the capital city, it would probably be average. Yes. Shouyuan pursed his lips, realizing that Lin Chuan was unwilling to take any losses, and he couldn't beat him. His official position was also greater than his own, and his mouth was full of crooked rumors. He really saw a ghost. Shilipo is one of the villages under the jurisdiction of Fufeng County, with a relatively small scale and a distance of about 20 to 30 miles from the county town. As Lin Chuan and Shouyuan began to rush at full speed, farmland began to appear around them, but most of it was abandoned. There is no other way, the calamity of demons has not yet subsided, and people's survival has become a problem. There is no need to think about farming. Isn't that right? I remember when I came here before, although it was desolate, there were still some cultivated land that had been cultivated. Why is it completely abandoned now? Lin Chuan scanned the surroundings, his face slightly displeased. The Demon Control Bureau sends people to inspect major county towns every once in a while. Fufeng County has always created a prosperous scene. If the inspector of the Demon Control Bureau sees such a scene, it is likely that all the officials in Fufeng County will suffer. In addition, with a slight inspection by the inspector, they will immediately know about the corrupt practices of the officials in Fufeng County. Lin Chuan, who is responsible for the security of the Shilipo area, is particularly at the forefront, and it is impossible to escape death. It used to be better in the past, but a month ago, the old dog from Huang entered the village, causing panic among people. Now everyone dare not even leave the door. Shouyuan explained. Huangfen Mountain is a small mountain near Shilipo, occupied by a group of dog demons, led by a yellow-skinned old dog who claims to be the king of Huangfen. However, Lin Chuan's affiliation with Zhu Yao Zhu Ba is only a cooperative relationship with Huang Pai Lao Go, which cannot be considered close. Of course, Lin Chuan dared not offend Huang Pai Lao Go, and Huang Pai Lao Go was quite wary of Zhu Ba, so there was still a good understanding between the two sides. Huang Pai Lao Go is very careful in his work and eats very restrained, never causing too much trouble. Therefore, Lin Chuan has always turned a blind eye and ignored everything, occasionally entertaining him with good wine and food. This is the first time that living directly in the village has happened like this. Lead the way. Lin Chuan nodded. If his original memory is correct, there will be about 2 months before the inspector of the Demon Control Department comes down. Some unstable factors need to be dealt with quickly. Otherwise, as the first person responsible, his punishment would be small, and he might even lose his life. Shouyuan clearly had a clear understanding of the situation at Shilipo, and he took Lin Chuan directly to an abandoned courtyard located at the entrance of the village. Open the door. Lin Chuan spoke up. Shouyuan pushed open the door and saw nauseating reddish-brown marks everywhere in the narrow cabin, which were already dried-up bloodstains. Lin Chuan strode in, the room was dim, and the table and floor were covered with disassembled torso. A dog demon sat on the edge of the bed, holding a thigh in his hand, staring expressionlessly at Lin Chuan. Its gaze was extremely sharp, with a cold glint that was quite frightening. After realizing that it was Lin Chuan, the dog demon's gaze slightly softened. Why did you come? The dog demon snorted, clearly dissatisfied with Lin Chuan's uninvited arrival. I heard something happened on Shilipo. Come and take a look. Lin Chuan scanned the surroundings and found that there was only one old dog, the Yellow Tomb King, here, and no other dog demons hiding in the dark. Shouyuan also saw such a cruel and inhumane scene for the first time. His face began to contort, and his palm holding the handle of the knife trembled slightly, showing signs of violence. His talent is very high, and he also ranks high in the Demon Control Department of the county town. He has mastered various martial arts to a small level, so he is more than enough to deal with ordinary dog demons. However, in front of the Yellow Tomb King, his cultivation level is still not worth considering. Since King Huangfen can dominate the mountains, his strength is definitely top-notch, and he is probably close to entering the market. I just ate a few people, you shouldn't mind, right? The Yellow Tomb King sneered and glanced coldly at Shouyuan behind Lin Chuan, with a sneer on his lips. Young people like Shouyuan, who are full of passion, have seen and eaten countless things. I really don't care, some lowly people are just going to die sooner or later. Lin Chuan chuckled lightly and said, but if you suddenly come down the mountain and don't say hello to me, it's a bit against the rules, right? Huang Fun stopped chewing and fell silent for a moment before speaking. I've encountered some trouble, go down the mountain to avoid trouble. Oh. Who else in Huangfen Mountain can threaten my brother? Lin Chuan curiously said. A group of yellow-skinned people. Huang Fun, the great king, snorted coldly, when I finish repairing and return, I will kill you sooner or later. The yellow skin in its mouth is actually a weasel, also known as Huang Daxian. There shouldn't be Huang Daxian near Fufeng County, right? Lin Chuan's eyebrows furrowed slightly. This is not something you can worry about, said King Huang Fun with resentment. For the next year, I will live in Shilipo. You provide me with 10 young meat every month. For Zhu Ba's sake, I won't go too far. Huang Fun looked coldly at Lin Chuan and said, I will leave in a year, and during this period, I will not take the initiative to attack people from 10 Mile Slope. What do you think of this condition? Speaking later, he directly threatened, if the information I received is correct, in 2 months, the people from the Demon Suppression Bureau will come. I believe you don't want me to cause trouble at this time. Okay, since my brother is here, I naturally welcome him. You can stay as long as you want. You can also stay here all the time, you don't have to go anywhere, Lin Chuan said gently. Those Huang Daxian have taken away my foundation. Sooner or later, I will be ashamed of myself. But your words deeply resonate with me. It's not easy for you to eat 10 pieces of meat a month, 8 pieces, right? King Huangfen was very satisfied with Lin Chuan's response and even took the initiative to reduce his meat consumption. Brother is really considerate. Unfortunately, I won't even give you a piece of meat. Lin Chuan suddenly smiled. The next moment, the long sword in his hand suddenly unsheathed. Adoptive father. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation tickets, adoptive father. Chapter 6. Huang Daxian, Seeking Data. You are listening at novel full.audio. This knife is too fast. Hand up, knife down, and a dog's head immediately flew into mid-air. Except for Lin Chuan, none of the people present could react. When the dog's head fell heavily to the ground, Shouyuan suddenly woke up. Grass. Shouyuan was stunned. Wasn't it okay just now? Why did you suddenly take action? And how did Lin Chuan's strength become so strong? He killed the Yellow Tomb King with just one blow. You should know that although the Yellow Tomb King has not entered the ranks, his strength cannot be underestimated. Even among the demon control department in the county city, there are only a few people who can deal with him. Take out the body and give an explanation to the villagers. As for the deceased's family, they should be given a certain amount of silver. Lin Chuan instructed him to wipe Shouyuan's clothes with a knife after speaking, in order to clean the bloodstains. After taking a deep breath, Shouyuan forcefully calmed his mind and said, "Why did Lord Lin kill the Yellow Tomb King? Aren't you afraid of the demon's revenge?" Revenge. Lin Chuan sneered and said, "The demons are cunning in each camp. The yellow-skin old dog has even lost his own Yellow Tomb Mountain. There is no way to seek revenge." After finishing speaking, Lin Chuan walked directly towards the outside and said, "Don't forget what you've been told." "Where is Lord Lin going?" Shouyuan asked as he watched Lin Chuan mount a thin horse, Huangfen Mountain, kill demons. Lin Chuan didn't turn back and rode straight away. Shouyuan stood there in a daze for only a few days before he realized that he couldn't understand this adult. The power has become so terrifying, not to mention, it is abnormal and incredibly powerful against demons. In the past, Lin Chuan would definitely seek Zhu Ba to mediate this matter, but now, it is really unbelievable to take the initiative to go to Huangfen Mountain to kill demons. Did he always pretend before? Shouyuan couldn't help but start brainstorming, and unconsciously, Lin Chuan's image in his mind gradually became majestic. He is truly a person who can do great things and can tolerate ordinary people. Shouyuan murmured. At this moment, Lin Chuan had no idea what Shouyuan was thinking, and his attention was focused on the panel of the martial arts simulator. Kill the wise dog demon, not yet a product, with a lifespan of 183 years. The remaining 62 years have been plundered. I suddenly gained 62 years of longevity, but it may not be enough. Lin Chuan was very satisfied with the harvest this time, but he also noticed that as the level of martial arts increased, the more longevity yuan needed to be consumed to continue the deduction. The 62-year longevity yuan plundered may not be able to deduce Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm to the next level. When we kill the yellow weasel from Huangfenshan, it should be almost done. At the thought of this, Lin Chuan suddenly whipped the thin horse. The skinny horse in pain let out a long hiss and immediately accelerated its speed. The distance between Huangfen Mountain and Shilipo was less than 10 miles. After a cup of tea, a small mountain appeared in front of Lin Chuan. This is Huangfen Mountain. Since it was occupied by Huangpi Old Dog, this place has become a forbidden area, and no one dares to step on it anymore. Lin Chuan tied the thin horse in the distance and walked on foot towards Huangfen Mountain. He was very calm and didn't even pay attention to the group of yellow weasels. After all, even the yellow-skinned old dog could escape alive. It is estimated that there were no imported demons in Huangfen Mountain at this time. What person? Suddenly, a scolding sound came from ahead. Lin Chuan looked up and found that it was a yellow weasel, but its behavior was average and it could not transform into a human form. It could only speak human words. The response to it was a sharp blow. Lin Chuan has nothing to say, just kill him. Kill the Kaiji demon, not yet a product, with a lifespan of 25 years and the remaining 13 years. The plunder is complete. You are indeed young. Lin Chuan sighed. It was obvious that this weasel had just started to develop its intelligence and had not yet undergone transformation. Shouyuan was just a little more than an ordinary weasel. Lin Chuan did not stop and continued walking towards the top of the mountain. In no time, a palace appeared before his eyes, and he didn't know how the yellow-skinned old dog had made it, looking quite imposing. Bang! Lin Chuan kicked the palace gate open. The originally noisy hall suddenly fell silent, with icy gazes casting towards the door. I heard that Huang has a new owner. What's wrong? Even if you come to my territory, you don't plan to visit me. Lin Chuan was the first to take the lead. He scanned the surroundings and found that there were still quite a few yellow weasels gathered here, a total of 7. This is already a strong demonic force. If their leader can enter the ranks, even compared to Zhu Ba's Gao family village, they will not be much weaker. What kind of person are you? The yellow weasels, who had reacted, were furious, and a few even stood up directly with fierce eyes. I don't even know who I am. How dare you occupy the mountain and become king in Huangfen Mountain? Lin Chuan shouted. Oh. You should be Lin Chuan, Zhu Ba's person. Huang Daxian, the leader, waved his hand and joked. I have some power. Lin Chuan snorted and then strode into the main hall. Such a strong appearance made the timid weasels look at each other, feeling somewhat helpless. Zhu Ba and I have also known each other for a long time, and we should also go and visit him. When I will occupy the mountain as king, I still need your consent. What kind of rules are these? Huang Daxian grinned grimly. Previously, I didn't have this rule because I didn't want to manage it, but now it exists. All demons who want to occupy the mountains near Fufeng County must first seek my consent. Lin Chuan held his hand behind him, his eyes looking down. Do you still want to establish rules in front of me as a human race? Huang Daxian continued, but I'm curious. What other rules have you established? Tell me everything. No, I can add it if you want to hear. Lin Chuan joked and said. Are you playing with me? Huang Daxian's face instantly turned ugly. No, I only play with women. Lin Chuan grabbed the handle of the knife and said, I'm in a good mood today. I came here specifically to tease you. Seeking death. Huang Daxian stood up with a loud bang and said, I gave Zhu Ba face, that's why I told you a few more words. Don't think I dare not take action against you. Chapter 7. Divine Elephant suppresses imprisonment, seeking data. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. The demon was already fierce and cunning. If it weren't for their fear of Zhu Ba, the group of weasels would have taken action as soon as Lin Chuan stepped into the main hall. Since that's the case, then there's no need to talk about it. As Lin Chuan spoke, the long sword in his hand slowly unsheathed. Like an undefeated general in 100 battles, he has an intimidating temperament and possesses the power of a dragon or tiger. It seems that you deliberately came to cause trouble, so don't blame me for not considering your relationship with Zhu Ba. Huang Daxian spoke coldly. Leader, I can't bear it anymore. A human dares to come and speak loudly in front of us. Not killing him is not enough to calm my anger. A weasel stood out first. Shua. Lin Chuan made a move and swung his long sword horizontally. With a hissing sound, the weasel was cut in half by the waist. What? The weasels who saw this scene were immediately shocked and took a deep breath. They quickly launched a siege and charged towards Lin Chuan like ghosts, with an extremely fierce attack. Their ability to defeat the yellow-skinned old dog occupying Huangfen Mountain is not just a name for itself, as they demonstrate their top-notch skills with just one move. Buzz. Lin Chuan waved his long sword, and the cold light of the sword poured down like mercury, illuminating the entire hall. Then I saw blood splattering, and wherever the long sword went, blood poured down like rain, and the head rolled. At this moment, although Lin Chuan did not fully unleash the power of the Earth Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, he was still incredibly powerful. He looked like a demon god from hell crossing over and invincible. Faced with the siege of a group of weasels, he marched like a dragon or tiger, as if entering an uninhabited territory. In an instant, 3 weasels were killed by him on the spot, splattering blood in the hall. Boom! At this moment, a stream of light quickly killed. Huang Daxian took action. There are some methods, no wonder you dare to come and show off in front of me, but if you fail to enter the level, you will still die. Huang Daxian shouted angrily, his speed and strength being much stronger than the other weasels, and in an instant he came to Lin Chuan's face. However, the next moment, an even more terrifying blade light appeared. Lin Chuan directly exerted the Earth Demon Subduing Sabre Technique to the extreme, which was already the power of the imported product, and a terrifying edge swept through in an instant. In a daze, the entire hall was submerged by the sharp sword light. Huang Daxian, who noticed something was wrong, immediately chose to retreat, but still couldn't avoid this blow. A long sword loomed in the air, like a broken bamboo. This scene is both shocking and terrifying. In front of Lin Chuan, who is making every effort, not to mention these ordinary weasels, even Huang Daxian is far from a match. After one strike, all the weasels in the main hall were completely killed. Lin Chuan looked expressionlessly at the scene in front of him and directly opened the simulator panel. Name: Lin Chuan. Cultivation: not included in the product. Martial arts: Demon Subduing Demon Sabre Technique, beginner level 9, Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm, perfect. The remaining lifespan of oneself in that year is 364 days. Plundering Shouyuan: 412 years. Looking at the looted Shouyuan, Lin Chuan nodded with satisfaction. I estimate that this time we can push Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm to a new level with one go. Lin Chuan speculated and then went straight down the mountain, eager to rush towards the city of Fufeng. Of course, he didn't forget to go to 10 Mile Slope and let Shouyuan be responsible for clearing the battlefield of Huangfengchen. It was already an hour later when Lin Chuan returned to Fufeng County. He went to the county government office first, and after confirming everything, he returned directly to his residence. Infer, Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm. Lin Chuan sat cross-legged on the bed and then began injecting Shouyuan into the simulator. You finally realized the uniqueness of Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm, and began to focus all your energy on this martial arts. In the 10th year, you felt a bit hopeless because you rejected the light that finally appeared. In the 20th year, there was no harvest. In the 30th year, there was no harvest. In the 100th year, you have a new understanding that martial arts actually refer not only to martial arts skills, but also to martial arts techniques. In the 150th year, Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm underwent a different transformation in your understanding. In the 2nd century, you once again encountered a bottleneck and felt like you still lacked a lot. In the 250th year, watching the flashing text on the panel, Lin Chuan couldn't help but fall into contemplation. He never expected that the deduction of Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm would be so difficult. It has been 250 years and the deduction has not yet reached the next level. However, this also made him more curious about the new Dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm and gave him more expectations. The difficulty of deduction is so high that once it is deduced, it will definitely be a rock-shattering shock. In the 300th year, you finally captured the spiritual light from the depths of your soul and successfully made a breakthrough. However, because your foundation is too poor, you can only comprehend the initial version of Divine Elephant Town Prison Power. The deduction is over. Do you want to claim it now? Claim. Lin Chuan exclaimed with excitement, as he had read numerous historical masterpieces from ancient and modern times, both at home and abroad. He naturally heard of the title of Divine Elephant Suppressing Prison Power. He knew that this was an extremely rebellious martial art, which, when practiced to the highest level, could open up 840 million human particles in his body, tear apart the heavens and the earth, and roar down the stars without hesitation. But what does the initial version mean? With doubts in mind, Lin Chuan quickly came up with a cultivation method. After reading it, he understood everything. Indeed, it was the initial version. Others could have created 840 million particles, but I could only create 84. Lin Chuan was a bit speechless, and it took him 300 years to deduce a 1.0 version. Having something is better than not having it. Lin Chuan can only comfort himself in this way. At night, the blue sky is as clear as the moon. Lin Chuan was silently practicing in the courtyard. He had intended to continue his deduction and directly improve the 1.0 version of God Elephant Town Prison Power to perfection. However, to his surprise, the simulator indicated that he could not continue his deduction. In other words, even if he were to promote the 2.0 version of Divine Elephant Town Prison Power now, it would be of no use. He needs to first cultivate the 1.0 version of Divine Elephant Town Prison Power to perfection before continuing with the deduction. However, it's normal to think about it. Martial arts and martial arts are different types. The former is strength, while the latter is realm. Realms can be directly cultivated to extremely high levels with the help of simulators, but strength is not enough. After all, this is something out of thin air, and simulators cannot give Lin Chuan powerful power out of thin air. With the operation of Shenxiangjin Jianjin, it can be clearly seen that as soon as Lin Chuan moves, there is an airflow, like a river, emitting a rolling sound. His muscles were like metal, emitting a sheepskin white jade luster under the moonlight. At a glance, his breath was like that of an angry giant elephant, intimidating. Chapter 8. Daily entry of 8 products, data required. You are listening at novel full.audio. Boom. Lin Chuan was practicing his fists and feet, with each palm being fierce and hitting the air with a crackling sound. This is the dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm he obtained from his elder brother, but at this time, there have been different changes, adding many mysteries. Moo. Suddenly, a giant elephant-like cry erupted from within Lin Chuan's body, and his palm technique reached its peak. Then, he suddenly stopped working, and a circle of airflow appeared behind him, faintly transforming into the shadow of a giant elephant. Then, he collapsed again, and the strong wind swept through the yard, rustling the leaves of the trees around him. The dragon Elephant Prajnaparamita Palm has reached its limit, and now it should be used as the foundation to start meditating on Divine Elephant Suppressing Prison Power. Lin Chuan sat down and closed his eyes for meditation. He transformed himself into 84 tiny particles, each of which was a giant elephant embryo. However, he had not yet awakened, but there were faint signs of the 84 giant elephant embryos converging together, forming a divine elephant. The head of the divine elephant is like a mountain, and its nose stretches for countless billions of miles, sweeping through the sun, moon, and stars. At the feet of the divine elephant, trampling on the endless prison of hell, the demon gods inside were as dense as dust, roaring to rush out. These scenes were all passed down to Lin Chuan after meditating on, the divine elephant suppresses the prison power, but they are the ultimate realm of this martial art. Currently, he can only awaken up to 84 particles at most. Unconsciously, a tiny particle inside Lin Chuan's body suddenly made a sound of rupture, and then a breath of awakening from the ancient and desolate giant beast slowly spread from Lin Chuan's body. He successfully awakened the first giant elephant embryo. In an instant, the courtyard where Lin Chuan was located became incredibly quiet for dozens of miles nearby. Originally, during the midsummer season, the chirping of various insects kept coming and going. However, when Lin Chuan's Divine Elephant Town Prison Power aura awakened, those insects felt a huge threat and stopped chirping, as if they had died. The Divine Elephant is a creature in ancient legends, with infinite power and the ability to suppress boundless hell. Its evil energy soars into the sky, and a shout can subdue infinite beasts. Although Lin Chuan has only awakened a tiny particle and is far from achieving this, he already poses a great threat. Now his power has completely exploded, almost equivalent to a giant elephant reviving. In theory, as long as he deduces the final version of the Divine Elephant suppresses hell and awakens all the particles, he can replace the legendary Divine Elephant and suppress the boundless hell. Of course, Lin Chuan is also aware that reaching this level is not easy, and he has only taken the first step now. However, even so, Lin Chuan could still feel that the Divine Elephant suppresses prison power is indeed an invincible skill that transcends heaven and earth. Today, he can be described as a humanoid giant elephant. After confirming that he had already broken through, Lin Chuan immediately stood up, restrained his breath, and the wild beast-like breath disappeared, being absorbed into his body. Immediately, the chirping of insects came from dozens of miles around, regaining vitality. Lin Chuan's eyes sparkled in the darkness, and the pitch-black surroundings were visible in all directions. Even the two ants from dozens of meters away could be seen clearly. Even in his ears, he could accurately capture the sound of two ants fighting. Herd of ant fights. His ears and eyes are dozens of times stronger than before, and his body's potential has been further developed. Undoubtedly, it took 300 years to deduce Divine Elephant Town Prison Power. Even the 1.0 version is so extraordinary, and my strength is more than 10 times stronger than before. I estimate that even those imported demons are not my all.1 enemies. Lin Chuan was overjoyed, but he had no idea about the cultivation level after entering the product, so he could only open the emulator panel. Name: Lin Chuan. Cultivation: 9th grade. Martial arts: Subduing Demon Sabre Technique, Beginner Level 9, Divine Elephant Prison Power 1.0, Beginner. The remaining lifespan of oneself in that year is 364 days. Plundering Shouyuan. 112 years. Looking at the text on the panel, Lin Chuan's eyebrows suddenly furrowed. My cultivation has broken through, but my longevity has not improved. Lin Chuan is confused. This is a bit unscientific. In theory, one should not increase one's cultivation level and also increase one's longevity. Is it difficult or not? My cultivation has not actually improved. The 9th grade and the undeveloped grade are the same cultivation realm, but there is only a difference in strength. Lin Chuan fell into contemplation. Although he feels a bit absurd, he believes that the possibility is still very high. It seems that we still need to find a way to establish a relationship with the Demon Suppression Bureau, otherwise my message will be too closed. Lin Chuan thought this way. Then Lin Chuan shifted his attention to Subduing Demon Sabre Technique, because his sword technique level is only at the 9th level, indicating that there is still great potential to be tapped. Because you have mastered a peerless martial arts, your talent has improved 1 year later. Your Subduing Demon Sabre Technique has reached its 9th grade, but you feel that it is still far from enough, so you continue to practice 10 years later. Your efforts finally paid off, and the 9th grade of Subduing Demon Sabre Technique was successfully completed 30 years later, after a long period of hard work. You have gradually mastered some of the true essence of the Subduing Demon Sabre Technique, and have successfully cultivated it to the 9th level. After discovering that the knife technique had been perfected, Lin Chuan fell into contemplation. He now has two options. Either continue to inject Shouyuan into the simulator to deduce Subduing Demon Sabre Technique, or temporarily stop and deduce other martial arts skills in the future. As for Divine Elephant Town Prison Power, he directly abandoned it. After all, the 1.0 version has not yet reached the highest level of cultivation, and continuing to deduce it is of no use. Moreover, the remaining longevity yuan is not enough to deduce the 2.0 version of this skill. After hesitating for a moment, Lin Chuan decided to continue practicing Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, hoping to see where the limit of this martial art lies. In an instant, Lin Chuan injected all the remaining Shouyuan into it, and with the continuous efforts of the simulator, there was finally a new change in Demon Subduing Demon Blade Technique. You have noticed that the Earth Demon Subduing Sabre Technique is somewhat extraordinary and believe that it can continuously evolve, so you have made up your mind to cultivate this martial arts skill well. However, you are not sure how difficult it is to deduce a new realm from a martial arts skill that has already reached its limit. 10 years later, you realize this, but couldn't resist your iron head. You decided to spare no effort to let this martial arts skill bloom in your hands with unprecedented brilliance. The deduction is over 8th level completion of Demon Subduing Demon Sabre Technique. Do you want to claim it now? Chapter 9. Call to Supervisor of the County for data. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. With a large amount of insights and self-fusion, Lin Chuan's realm suddenly increased by a large margin. In addition, with the awakening of giant elephant particles in his body, his combat power has truly improved by leaps and bounds compared to before. His aura is deep and powerful, and his every move can crack gold and stones, which is many times stronger than ordinary 9th grade masters who do not know the Tao. Afterwards, Lin Chuan also attempted to awaken the second particle, but the progress was somewhat slow. In fact, because it is a self-derived technique, there is no bottleneck at all. As long as there is enough energy, the giant elephant particles in his body can constantly awaken. The demon's flesh and blood contain tremendous energy. It seems that I really want to live with the demon endlessly. Lin Chuan restrained his breath, hiding all his strength in the awakened particles. His body is as unfathomable as hell, and no one can test his true cultivation. This is the most perfect disguise. The power of a divine elephant, the depth of hell. This divine skill is really too terrifying. In this chaotic world, Lin Chuan is well aware of the importance of hiding clumsiness. Shooting a bird with a gun is not just talk. The next morning, as soon as Lin Chuan entered the county government office, his lackeys welcomed him. Lord Lin, Lord Supervisor of the county has come back and is waiting for you in Huya. The person speaking is named Zhang Hu, who was the most loyal subordinate of his predecessor and can be considered a confidant. Lord Supervisor of the county. Lin Chuan frowned slightly. In his original memory, Shen Yi, the supervisor of the county, went to the county to report on his work. Normally, it would take another half-month to return. Why was it advanced so long? Lin Chuan inquired. I'm not sure, but the supervisor of the county is in a bad mood. You should be careful. Zhang Hu's voice was very soft, indicating some concern. Lin Chuan nodded and walked straight towards the rear office. In the troubled times of demons, people who can become the leader of a county will not be ordinary people. Although they are arrogant and lawless in Fufeng County, they fear the supervisor of the county from the bottom of their hearts. However, now Lin Chuan's cultivation has made great progress and his fighting power has soared. He is not afraid of any opponent in Fufeng County, and the supervisor of the county who has brought great pressure to his original body cannot stop him now. Upon arriving at the back office, Lin Chuan quickly met Shen Yi in the study. Are you here? Shen Yi has a thin and weak physique, with dark skin and eyes that resemble falcons. When staring at someone, one can feel a sense of oppression. I've seen you, sir. Lin Chuan saluted and then stood quietly aside. Shen Yi didn't speak, but continued to be busy with his official duties, as if he had forgotten that there was still someone standing next to him. Lin Chuan did not urge upon seeing the situation, but instead looked up and down at the magistrate of Fufeng County. After fusing his original memories, Lin Chuan naturally knew that Shen Yi was actually the one who colluded with demons, and he only received Shen Yi's instructions, but it was normal to think about it. Fufeng County is so big, and many people know about Lin Chuan's defection to demons. Without Xinyi's permission, he would probably have been beheaded long ago. After a brief silence, Xinyi put down the document in his hand and looked up at Lin Chuan. Zhu Lai is dead. Lin Chuan thought to himself and said calmly, "Yes, I killed it." "Did you kill the old yellow-skinned dog?" Xinyi continued to ask. Lin Chuan nodded, "There's nothing to hide. Shouyuan is dealing with the aftermath at Shilipo, and the news will come sooner or later." However, it can also be seen from this that Xinyi's control over Fufeng County has reached a very high level. Although others are not present, they are familiar with the ups and downs of Fufeng County. "Not bad, it seems that your strength has improved a lot." Xinyi looked at Lin Chuan with eagle-like eyes, but in the next moment, his gaze immediately became sharp. A tremendous aura was unleashing, almost igniting Lin Chuan. This was the true master, with a super-strong spirit and a gaze capable of killing. A single glance could make one collapse. However, as soon as these mental pressures hit Lin Chuan, the divine elephant's suppressing prison power deep inside his body began to operate, and all the mental pressures were instantly resolved completely. The divine elephant suppresses hell, and various terrifying spiritual pressures from demons and ghosts are being suppressed. Although Lin Chuan has only awakened one particle, he is more than enough to deal with the pressure from Xinyi. "I don't have much to say about killing the yellow-skinned old dog. It's just a homeless dog. I don't care if I kill it or not, but Zhu Lai is different." Xinyi's pupils contracted and he remained indifferent. Lin Chuan was expressionless. "Please also ask the supervisor of the county for advice. They are both demons. Why can't Zhu Lai kill them?" He could already see that Xinyi was about to take action against him, and his words naturally became a bit sharp. "There is no one behind Huangpi old dog, and if he dies, he will die, but behind Zhu Lai, there is also an imported demon Zhu Ba." Xinyi said coldly, "Not long ago, Zhu Ba found me and said he wanted to avenge his descendants. Lin Chuan, actually I quite like you. You are greedy for life and afraid of death. There is no limit to what you do, and you are a very good chess piece. Unfortunately, you have taken the wrong path. Your Majesty's intention is for me to defend Zhu Lai's life." As he spoke, Lin Chuan's hand was already on the handle of the knife. He certainly wouldn't sit idly by, although killing a county magistrate would cause great trouble and even lead to being wanted by the authorities. However, if he really reaches that point, Lin Chuan cannot have any reservations. "There's no way." Xinyi nodded and said, "Zhu Ba is pressing hard. I need to give him an explanation. To be honest, I really don't want to kill you." Lin Chuan sneered at the words and said, "Your Excellency is just worried that something will happen in the future. No one will take the blame for you anymore." He had long guessed the reason why Xinyi indulged the original body, which was nothing more than making the original body a substitute for the dead at a critical moment. "Since you know, I won't hide it. You are indeed one of my chess pieces. Unless absolutely necessary, I don't want to destroy you. After all, rearranging a chess piece is still very troublesome." Xinyi stood up and said, "Perhaps your cultivation has improved a lot and you can even kill the yellow-skinned old dog. Unfortunately, in front of me, your skills are still too weak." As soon as he finished speaking, Xinyi suddenly slapped Lin Chuan. A powerful force burst out like a flood breaking through a dike, and the majestic true energy condensed into a huge palm, directly grabbing towards Lin Chuan. No one has ever seen Xinyi engage in combat with anyone, but his outburst immediately demonstrated his level of combat power. Although he was only in the 9th grade, he was indeed invincible in Fufeng County, and Zhu Ba could compete with him. "Sir, times have changed." Just then, Lin Chuan suddenly grinned. In the next moment, the long sword was unsheathed, and a brilliant sword light rose into the sky. Chapter 10. Demon Supervisor of the County, Seeking Data. You are listening at novel full.audio. Immediately after, the blade light fell down, like the Milky Way hanging upside down, directly splitting Shenyi's true chi big hand in half. Good kid, you were actually allowed to enter the product. It seems that you can't be kept today no matter what. Shenyi's face changed, and his killing intent in his eyes became even more fierce. In Fufeng County, he never allows a second expert to enter the market. Even without Zhu Ba, after learning about Lin Chuan's cultivation, Shen Yi would still take action to erase him. Suddenly, Shen Yi's body erupted in circles of cold air. With a single move, the cold air rushed out like a spider web and enveloped Lin Chuan's head. A web of heaven and earth. This is a martial arts skill mastered by Shen Yi. When one move hits, the true chi is like a net. The victim will immediately be pierced into the vein by the sharp cold energy, and their whole body will become stiff. Just as the true chi network was approaching, Lin Chuan moved. With this movement, all his muscles were jumping, exploding inch by inch, as if an ancient giant had been resurrected. A fierce and malevolent aura swept out of his body, causing Shen Yi to feel suffocated. This was a demonic idea from ancient hell. Boom! I saw Lin Chuan's body shake, and the net of true energy was shattered. Lin Chuan quickly disappeared from the original position, almost shrinking to an inch. In the next blink of an eye, he came to Shen Yi and then raised his hand to punch him. He intended to test his current strength, so he did not use the Demon Subduing Sabre Technique, otherwise he could split Shen Yi in half with just one strike. Lin Chuan's footsteps were like giant elephants fiercely trampling on the ground, causing the entire study to tremble. The pillars that the few people were embracing creaked, and dust fell from the beams of the room. This punch is almost equivalent to exploding explosives out of thin air, with unparalleled power. Shen Yi's face changed drastically and he quickly retreated, using his cold ice true energy to resist within a millimeter. But Lin Chuan's speed was really too fast, his fist had already hit him. Upon seeing this, Shen Yi could only hold his arms horizontally on his chest and forcefully resist Lin Chuan's bombardment. Bang! The next second, Shen Yi was punched and his whole body was thrown into the air, forming a parabolic trajectory. He was smashed straight from the study and his arms were split apart, and blood spurted out from his mouth. You! Shen Yi's face turned pale. He never expected Lin Chuan to be so powerful. He couldn't bear it with just one punch. If he had to take those few more punches, he might have been killed on the spot. The adult's strength is a bit weaker. Lin Chuan approached slowly with a long knife in hand. The rear office is a forbidden area, without Shen Yi's orders, no one can step on it, and even dare not approach it. In addition, the two of them clashed in a split second, so no one noticed the changes here at all. It seems that I really underestimate you. I didn't expect that you have been enduring humiliation and willing to become my chess piece, but in fact, you have been accumulating strength in the dark. Now that you have achieved success in cultivation, you are finally no longer hiding. Shen Yi spat out a mouthful of fresh blood again. Lin Chuan didn't leave his hand on this punch just now, causing his internal organs to shift and his injuries to be quite severe. Lin Chuan did not explain, to be honest, even if he told others clearly about his progress in cultivation in the past 2 days, no one would believe it. Do you have any last words, sir? Lin Chuan looked down at Shen Yi from a high position. After practicing Divine Elephant Prison Power, his personality also underwent significant changes, gradually becoming domineering and lawless. Do you really think you can kill me? At this moment, Shen Yi suddenly sneered. Immediately after, Shen Yi flipped his hand and a black mist appeared on his fingertips. Then his body suddenly underwent an astonishing change. In Lin Chuan's surprised gaze, Shen Yi's muscles began to tremble violently and quickly condensed into red scales. At the same time, black spikes appeared on his shoulders, looking incredibly sharp. In the end, Shen Yi's face was enveloped by scales and armor, and his originally thin and weak body had now grown to the size of a foot. Demons. Lin Chuan's face changed slightly. He had thought that Shen Yi would have some means to suppress the situation, but now it seems that Shen Yi is not a human at all. To be precise, this is the true demon. What you know is just some beasts that have given birth to spiritual intelligence. Only when you enter the product can you be considered a demon, and it's just a despicable demon. Shen Yi grinned grimly, looking incredibly penetrating. It seems that the adult has absolute confidence in killing me. I wonder if the adult can dispel the confusion. I am very interested in demons. Lin Chuan's eyes flickered. I am not considered a demon, I have only cultivated the demon's divine power, and fundamentally, I am still a human race. Shen Yi did explain some things, but the next second, he suddenly erupted and killed Lin Chuan like a phantom. It is obvious that after using the demon's true body, Shen Yi's strength and speed have increased significantly, far exceeding when he was still a human. However, Lin Chuan seemed to have anticipated this scene long ago, and as Shen Yi was about to approach, he immediately dodged. His body was like a snake winding, and also like a fish shuttling through the water, avoiding Shen Yi's blow. Even though Lin Chuan had not learned body techniques, his speed was no less than that of a 9th-level master who possessed body techniques after only achieving a small 8th grade in the deduction of Demon Subduing Demon Blade Technique. Since adults don't want to say it, then don't say it. Lin Chuan said coldly. Kind. The long sword, which had already been sheathed, was pulled out by him again, and a sharp aura burst forth. The brilliant sword light burst out, like a vast and boundless river of heaven. At this moment, Lin Chuan had nothing to keep and directly used the Earth Demon Subduing Sabre Technique. In an instant, the courtyard of the rear office was filled with terrifying blade lights. Dang 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 dang. Shen Yi waved his hands to stop him, but now his body was wrapped in scales and armor, with astonishing defensive strength. After colliding with Lin Chuan's long sword, he suddenly made a sound of weapons clashing. 8th grade martial arts realm. How could you hide so deep? Shen Yi's pupils trembled with disbelief. In other words, Lin Chuan is now on par with the 8th level master. If it weren't for him transforming into a demon body, he would probably have had his head chopped off in the first round. Kill. Lin Chuan walks with tiger steps, wielding a long sword in his hand, exuding immense power. Boom. At this moment, the sound of the long sword breaking through the air became low, and the air swept in all directions like waves. Then, the sound became like endless rolling thunder, deafening. Lin Chuan had no intention of continuing to delay, and directly unleashed all the power of the Demon Subduing Demon Sabre Technique. The 8th grade Shaoqing realm's Demon Subduing Demon Sabre Technique showed its sharpness for the first time. A brilliant sword light fell heavily on Shen Yi's body amidst his terrifying gaze, like a broken bamboo.